5 days after Zohran Mamdani's stunning win for mayor, the New York Times published the aesthetic that won New York City. But what does this mean? Before we talk about that, let's look at Zohran Mamdani's speech after winning the mayoral election.
Over our city this evening. But as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity.
Now, here's Trump's speech after finding out he just lost the election, and perhaps indirectly inciting an attempted coup on the nation's capital.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
Now, surprisingly enough, these two have a very similar quality within the both of them. Since, they absolutely adore each other. Right? Communist. Guys, he will absolutely enact Sharia law in New York City. Come on, guys. Come on. Vote Cuomo. I just really dislike you as a president. And I won't let you use ICE agents in New York City. To round up innocent civilians. Now, with that little skip, could you guess what the similarities are? Ding, 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 ding. It is their usage of social media as a bargaining tool for their political ideology. Didn't expect that? Neither did I. Now, that's as far as similarities go. But I began to really think, what is social media's role in politics? And no, I'm not talking about newspapers or cable TV. Oh no. I'm talking about everyone's favorite form of content, short form media. And since I scroll on TikTok for a very concerning amount daily, I want to answer the simple question. Does social media algorithms promote political engagement, or does it simply divide people with more radical ideas? Before providing the very researched case studies, what even is an algorithm? And how does it affect me when I just want to watch my cat videos in peace? To simply put it, it's how social media platforms, especially short form media, push videos that pertain to your interest. So, if I like and comment on this cat video right here, I actively receive more cat videos because the algorithm thinks I really like cats, which I do. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. I would prefer to see videos I enjoy and like. But how does this influence our political decisions? The idea of short form media stems from our attention spans. Now, if you haven't clicked off the video yet, you probably have a good attention span. But people are adapting and are finding ways to convey ideas in just a few minutes with just a finger scroll. And this makes a clear and present danger to the quality of political education on these platforms. Imagine having to condense down the history of America in just a minute without leaving out major important details. It's hard. You would probably talk about Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, but would you leave out the Civil Rights Movement? It leaves a dangerous precedent with political extremism to take its place. Well, how so? When talking about or having a political discussion, it's long form, drawn out, usually takes 30 minutes to an hour to really dig into and understand both perspectives. But with people learning their news and education based on a 1 minute TikTok or YouTube short, it decreases political education worldwide, especially in America. And that's if you bet the news is factual and unbiased. This is where it leads to real extremism. People are fed these high engagement posts due to their algorithms picking up on other people talking about or liking it, with extremely biased views or simply untrue news on both sides of the political spectrum. The scary part is, your mind already takes up this information. You're in a constant look for dopamine, and when you find a politically charged form of media talking about X is bad and Y is better, you truly digest it without even researching more. It will always linger in the back of people's minds. Until then, people won't research about it because simply they believe that that form of content is true and unbiased. And this is how extremism could take root all through social media. Now, for what I've been stating, it seems like these algorithms used to promote short form media content have been extremely harmful for political education. But on the opposite, it could be also used to promote real engagement into politics. And that's where I get to my first case study, Zohran Mamdani's out of nowhere New York City victory. And I mean, perhaps I am a little biased, but this video is foreign to mainstream American politics and absolutely perfect for increasing Gen Z's engagement and social media algorithms to pick it up. Talking to people, having a visual, unique style, and proposing real policies rather than these vague ideas traditional politicians use. I'm from Georgia, and during the elections, probably about 3 years ago, I kept seeing Raphael Warnock ads. The classic stupid line, I see you, I hear you. The unauthenticity of all of it, no visual uniqueness, just the same old message that all these other politicians had before him. But why am I ranting about Raphael? I mean, this is New York City, no? Because similar to Raphael is Andrew Cuomo, the main contender for mayor against Mamdani. Let's check Cuomo's advertisements.
Dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
Give everyone a fair shot.
Sure, he said multiple times we need to defund the police, but that was just a metaphor.
And yes, he did say crime is a social construct, but that was also a metaphor.
His main backer, the Democratic Socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
Decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting.
Third-degree assault. Trespassing.
Exactly like traditional unauthentic politicians. Well, maybe his essay cases had an effect too. Now, what am I trying to say? Well, with this new style of political content, the social media algorithms, primarily on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, pick up this type of style fast. And who are on these platforms? Gen Z. Gen Z is arguably one of the most stressed out generations, with near economic uncertainty, pandemic effect, social media pressure, and social issues. It goes even further into New York City. New York City has one of the worst housing crises and living crises throughout the country. They're even doing bad in crime. So when a disillusioned generation has two candidates promising to fix the housing crisis and living cost, it goes down to the character and policies of these two individuals, and also how effective they use social media. Developing your political character and the ideas of your policies stems from social media and how the algorithm promotes you. Now, these are just YouTube videos. Let's actually go into short form media content and what really affects Gen Z voters. Let's compare both Cuomo's and Mamdani's videos. Sorting to their most popular videos, let's start with Zohran Mamdani's TikTok strategy. His most popular video, posted on November 1st, amassed 23.9 million views, 2.6 million likes, and 153,000 shares. And it's just simply him speaking in Arabic at a local New York City restaurant with his signature cuts and transitions, asking for support on November 4th and what he would do policy-wise to help the costs in New York City. Now, Cuomo's most popular video is him at a mayoral debate, speaking to the audience about his stance on ICE in New York City, amassing 394,000 views, 30,000 likes, and about 3,000 shares from June 15. Now, I don't think I need to say much about how vastly different these two videos are, but it shows that the algorithm primarily ran by Gen Z voters or encourage this sort of engagement of Mamdani's well-liked videos, while Cuomo's videos primarily directed towards the older audience, with many of his clips of him just talking to an audience on a podium, while Cuomo is literally campaigning on the streets of New York City. Zohran's political algorithm isn't just talking to a camera about real political change. It's his stunts that gain real media attention. His first real viral video with then Assemblyman was him interviewing New York-based Trump voters about the recent 2020 election. His polar plunge into the Atlantic Ocean with a vow to freeze rent, and walking the length of Manhattan to advocate for accessible politicians. It's not just about his character, but how he portrays his character to the mainstream public in doing these stunts. And these media stunts go hand in hand with the algorithms used by TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. With his unconventional way of portraying his ideas for the city and his charismatic personality, it allows the perfect breeding ground for algorithms to pick up his content. Now, what I've been telling you is how effective Mamdani's social media platform is in producing real social media engagement. But does this translate to real political voting? In short, yes it does. In the 2021 New York City mayoral election, about 4.9 million people were registered to vote, with only 23% voting, equating to about a million people. While in 2025, with only a slight increase in registered voters up to 5.1 million, the turnout was 39.91%, a 16% increase from the previous election. Voter turnout in this election was the highest in half a century, the most in a mayoral race since 1969, primarily due to Mamdani's campaign destroying the Democratic establishment, converting the center Democrats into younger, left-leaning voters attracted by Mamdani's grassroots campaign organization. This could be amplified by the growth of Zoran Mamdani's party, the Working Families Party, with a 28% increase in voters registered ahead of the 2021 to 2025 general elections, with the growing establishment of Democrats shrinking, and with a new progressive left movement rising up. Funny enough, even right-wing media source, the New York Post, has claimed that TikTok has been boosting Mamdani's content over Cuomo, stating that algorithmic influence may be shaping voter perception in the New York City elections. They simply missed the key reason on why Cuomo lost the social media race. He did not know how to tailor towards the disillusioned Gen Z audience. His video sucked. He allegedly essayed 13 women. And maybe because he rode his campaign on how he was the candidate to vote for, because he was quote-unquote experienced. Mr. Cuomo himself, when asked about his election loss, he stated that he didn't do as much social media than the Assemblyman, Zoran Mamdani.
On the under 30 vote, I didn't do enough on social media.
All in all, algorithms used by social media platforms do promote political engagement. Even if you supported Mamdani, Cuomo, or the cat lover, this was apparent because this was one of the largest voter turnouts in New York City history. But when Zoran Mamdani was asked during an interview with The Wired, is technology making democracy stronger or weaker? He replied back, I think in its current use, weaker. But I don't think that's an innate aspect of technology. I don't really need to introduce it, but here I am doing so. COVID-19. You either love it or you hate it. But it has indirectly caused the polarization of politics throughout 2020 to present day. Social media platforms spiked in usage rates. People were bored at home, wanted to socialize, and simply wanted news about COVID-19 while coping in their one-by-one dorm room. But COVID-19 created an unprecedented amount of emotional stress on people, economic insecurity, uncertainty about the future. Isolation made people seek information on, most importantly, a way to cope with all this, a distraction. And oh boy, was social media a coping mechanism. This led to the increased engagement throughout these platforms, feeding directly into these algorithm loops. Social media became the main source of many news for Americans. According to multiple Pew Research studies, people primarily got news from social media, increasing significantly during COVID-19. People were less informed and more likely to believe in made-up news/misinformation, and algorithms made news consumption effortless. With this, conspiracy theories and extremist ideologies spread faster than ever before, creating the perfect conditions for QAnon, government distrust, political misinformation, etc. They gave simple answers to complex problems and allowed the blame to be shifted onto someone else. People were literally just coping. With these new extremist ideologies gaining traction, alternative social media platforms grew in addition. The Pew Research found that people during COVID had a distrust in mainstream media. People turned to alternative platforms like Telegram. These environments, especially Telegram, became hubs for extremist ideologies and anti-establishment narratives. And unfortunately, the algorithm exploited this. When a user shows even a slight interest in political content, the algorithm begins to show more, increasing the intensity of the content and reducing the exposure to other opposing perspectives, creating an extremist ideological bubble. Extremist movements like QAnon, the Gropers, Oath Keepers, and etc. all exploited these algorithms, creating emotionally charged content using memes for radicalization, like this. Oh gosh, it's horrible. And coordinating on encrypted or alternative platforms like stated Telegram. I'm saying Telegram a lot because it is horrible. They use these mainstream platforms as recruitment funnels, pushing people towards an extremist ideology using algorithms or influencers. And I know you've heard some of these political identity brandings, like the left versus right, working class versus the elite, and more apparent now, people versus Jews, with an increasing growth of anti-Semitism on these mainstream media platforms. The information ecosystem on the internet is unequal. Some people rely on social media, while others rely on traditional media for the news. This makes it vulnerable for people to be divided under misinformation, and the less informed causing polarization to be dangerous and hard to counter. Now, how does this all relate to Trump? What a dumb question. Of course, all this relates to Trump. His communication style, his rhetoric, was really optimized for the algorithm. He used strong emotional languages, painted clear villains in his campaigns, and kept posting/inciting provocative posts. He turned MAGA as his little army going against the establishment of both Democrats and Republicans, causing people to become divided under party lines. Most importantly, Trump frequently used social media to criticize anyone he deemed was ruining his MAGA brand or regulating it. During the 2020 elections, he denied the election results of Joe Biden. Feeling distrust with his already loyal MAGA fan base created an intense atmosphere during the 2020 election. This social media strategy quite literally incentivized extremist engagement, as supporters saw Trump's rhetoric as validation for their insane extremist beliefs. With this validation from their Lord Trump, it allowed people to rally and protest, build a powerful MAGA fan base, and literally incite a coup on the nation's capital. I don't know what else screams political division than people literally storming a nation's capital, just because the opposite party won the election. And this just emphasizes social media's role in politics and the algorithms they use to promote political polarization in recent times. Well, what now? I mean, I've shown you some instances where algorithms do promote political engagement, and on the other side, how it contributes to political polarization. But what if I test it myself? I mean, what if I scroll to find political content? Oh gosh. So, how am I going to do this experiment? First, I'm going to make a brand new account. As you can see here, brand new account. I have no likes, no favorites, just nothing to make the algorithm skew for my For You page. Secondly, I'll type in politics in the search bar and spam like and favorite a bunch of videos that are related to politics. So like recently, literally today, Zohar Hamdani just met Donald J. Trump. So I would like a lot of videos that pertain to that. Lastly, I now scroll and see how much politically charged content I get. And with these TikToks, I'll see if they're 1, educational and informational, or 2, polarizing, conspiracy theories, or biased. And now would you look at that? Scrolling just a few videos down, I get a video about the Epstein files. And it's about how the Epstein files will look after like Penny Bomb is done like reviewing them, because historically and like recently they omit a lot of like important information. But yeah, this just really shows that the political content is really easy to find. But let's continue. Look at that. Just 4 scrolls down, or 5, we get Zohran Mamdani and Trump, which this is news. This is mainstream news and informational, so it's not really conspiracy or anything like that. I feel like the first one would be more leaning towards the conspiracy, but kind of informational, since it does happen. The Congress does omit important information in important governmental documents, but it just depends what side your political spectrum is on to really convey what you think, if that's controversial or informational. And literally just 3 scrolls down, I see a video about political ideologies explained. And I would say this is a very informational video. I mean, people want to know what political ideologies are and things like that. And it makes us not really be polarized, but it makes us be united to understand the opposing sides. But sometimes these type of videos pertain to debates in the comment section, which I wouldn't count comment sections as polarizing, because it's not really the main focus of the media, but it's indirectly expressing polarization within this comment section, which you can obviously see right here, which people are saying liberalism, progressivism, and socialism are the best. IMO. We didn't ask that. Oh yeah, no, there's also a cat video, which I am liking right now. This is a political content, but it's literally actively promoting the polarization and division. Learning about politics only to criticize others' views more accurately. I mean, I guess. I mean, at least you want to learn opposite sides. I mean, I guess that wouldn't really be polarizing or biased. I mean, I guess. Another informational. Trump congratulating Zohran Mamdani for winning. Oh my gosh, we finally got here. We finally got to the Al Gore TikToks. So Al Gore basically, it was probably one of the most closest race in presidential history between George Bush and Al Gore, and literally down to Florida, down to like 1,000 votes, I think, around that, and Al Gore didn't win. I guess this is informational. I mean, they're just kind of just supporting their candidate. It's not really saying anything about their other sides or stuff like that. So it's not really biased. I mean, it's not really controversial or anything like that. Oh, and we have the TikTok liberal boy Dean Witters, and Dean Witters is just a political commentator that debates the Trump supporters. He's very democratic, establishment democratic, but these type of videos lean, I feel like, towards polarizing, because you're basically insinuating that the opposite perspective is dumber, because a lot of these videos are just him bullying Trump supporters and not really engaging into real educational debates. But it's not really like controversial or like making me want to like do something about it. It's just there. I accidentally skipped over Obama, but that was Obama. By the way, just to let you know. We get to our first I don't know what, like, far right, far conservative TikTok. It's a TikTok about an aesthetic, which is the white traditional conservative family. If you watch this video, it's just literally paintings of drawings of white families, and I want to say that this is pretty polarizing because it just rubs the wrong way. I don't know how to explain this. And I mean, it's pretty polarizing if you just check the first few comments. I mean, they're just kind of like, why do you have to specify white and not just a traditional conservative family? Yeah, this is where people get to the far right rabbit hole. And by the way, I literally just type in politics in my search bar, and I'm getting white traditional conservative family aesthetics. Now we'll get into the Socrates TikToks. Basically, Socrates thought that democracy needs to be limited because then it will just be a voting contest and not really a vote by the best leader. And he thought that the people educated enough should vote and the people not educated enough should not vote. But he, all in all, believed that people should be educated to vote, which is I guess it's kind of just a technocracy, if I'm not wrong. Please definition. But yeah, this is informational because he's just telling us what Socrates thought about democracy. But I don't look at the comment section, but I don't want to imagine it. It's probably some very divisional stuff in that comment section. And lastly, we have a TikTok that is talking about how right-wing politics are horrible and how left-wing politics are amazing. This is pretty biased. I mean, it's not really talking about anything informational. You're not really saying that how is left-wing politics better? I mean, it says in the little caption thing that capitalism would never be on top, but right-wing politics aren't essentially capitalist, so that doesn't really make sense. I mean, there's some right-wing ideologies that are third position and don't believe in capitalism, but we progress, we digress. This TikTok, this is pretty polarizing. If I did check the comment section, which I didn't because I value my sanity and I don't want to look at political TikToks every day, it would have been definitely debates about why right-wing and left-wing or left-wing is better. Definitely in these TikToks. But yeah, all in all, it's really easy for people to get sucked into political TikToks just simply because I searched up politics on my search bar and I just liked a few videos. By the way, non-partisan. It was no party involved. I just liked Zohran Mamdani and Trump's speech talk earlier today. And I'm getting right-wing politics and left-wing politics and here Socrates and things like that. This just shows how easy these algorithms pick up on what people like. And if I like a certain TikTok, imagine if I like this left-wing TikTok, I would have definitely got more left-wing TikToks later on. But I'm not going to check that because I don't want to be watching political content. Now, what should we take from this video? Are algorithms promoting engagement or simply dividing people beyond party lines? Well, it's both. And the simple thing about it is just don't believe anything you see online until you have done your research about it. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.